I want to thank INAI's commissioners for the invitation and thanks to my distinguished colleagues and high authorities sharing this panel, members of the Mexican OGP Multi-Stakeholder Forum, and the wider open government community. It's truly an honor to address this audience at the 4th National Open Government Summit focused on how an open state approach in Mexico can help to establish the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. In a context where some of the core democratic institutions are being challenged, let me reassure you that OGP will always support open government reformers and champions and others fighting to protect civil liberties and democratic institutions. We stand by your side. We meet at a very challenging time. This pandemic has shone a light on society's biggest inequalities, and it has shown us what happens in the absence of open government and transparency. From scandals over medical procurement, open data on health cases, and effective spending on government stimulus packages. We also know that the pandemic has worsened the global trend of decline in democracy and civic space, which has now seen 15 consecutive years, and is also visible in Mexico. The 2021 Democracy Index relegates Mexico from a flawed democracy to a hybrid regime, a sobering assessment in a region whose average score fell for the sixth consecutive year, marking the biggest regional downgrade since the launch of the Democracy Index. Mexico is one of the 8 founding governments that launched the Open Government Partnership in 2011. As such, you have a special responsibility to provide continued inspiration and leadership to a partnership that has grown to 77 national members and 76 local ones, including 8 Mexican states and municipalities. Together with thousands of civil society organizations across the world, these governments have created more than 4,500 commitments to opening up government. Many of those reforms have made a direct impact on people's lives. You are at a crucial moment of your action plan cycle. You've put in the hard work to co-create an exceptional plan. The IRM assesses all of your commitments to be relevant to open government values and at least 1/3 to be promising or ambitious. Now you need to push through to the end. Implement your well-designed plan to reap the rewards. I'm glad to hear that the Ministry of Public Administration is increasing efforts to complete their strategic commitments. Over the last 10 years, you've consistently improved the level of public participation and innovated the tripartite multi-stakeholder forum coordinating group that has now evolved into a coordination committee that leads in the development, implementation, and evaluation of the action plans. Right from the start, INAI has been a crucial part of the equation. INAI has also played a key role in innovating and providing a channel for enhanced communication and collaboration between the government and civil society organizations, and is the keystone of one of the strongest access to information arrangements in the world, both institutional and legal. How INAI is set up and functioning is an inspiration for many across the globe. Use this strength to see this action plan through all the way. This will send a strong message in difficult times, not just in Mexico, but across the region and the partnership, including establishing a transparent register of beneficial owners as part of your strategy to combat corruption, joining over 30 other countries across the world, opening up beneficial ownership. Strengthen transparency on environmental information and natural resources management, and public participation in sustainable rural development, especially as the Escazú Agreement kicks into gear, promoting greater governance in the environmental sector in the region. And strengthen the democratic controls on surveillance systems, a commitment that resulted from a true open government dialogue in your country in response to a crisis that tackles 2 of the great challenges that the openness arena will face moving forward: threats to civic space and digital policy. And keep building alongside the National Women's Institute your national care services policy as a game changer to achieve gender equality and women's empowerment in the country, one that's also a great example for the region. Now, for your next action plan looking forward, there's a few seeds you can already start planting. The National Pact for Open Justice with a gender perspective, promoted by Equis Justicia, offers a great opportunity to engage the judiciary in the OGP process. This can provide a concrete step to broaden participation in the OGP process by including the citizenry, the private sector, and most importantly, the judiciary and the legislature. Another concrete entry point to both broaden the range of actors involved and also advance the anti-corruption agenda is through the national anti-corruption system that could be engaged more directly in the OGP process. The two public institutions that form part of the multi-stakeholder forum are already part of that national system. I encourage you to consider improving your procurement system through open contracting strategies, or continuing the disclosure of beneficial ownership of those companies that actually get state contracts. Last but not least, for INAI, keep up the hard work with local governments. Mexico already has 8 members at the local level, as I mentioned, but there's also a concrete opportunity for INAI to work more closely with national and local civil society organizations and thematic partners on institutionalizing the progress made thus far and making open government sustainable and strong across the whole country. Coming to a conclusion, Mexico is facing challenges. Civil society organizations have decided not to continue the collaboration in some commitments of the current action plan due to lack of implementation progress, for example. But more worrying to me is the insecurity and hostility faced by civil society leaders, by human rights defenders, by journalists. This is a persistent problem in Mexico, and I want to express our solidarity and condolences with the victims and their families, and our concern. Open government and an open state cannot flourish if the civic space is under attack. We call on Mexican authorities and the state as a whole to redouble the efforts to guarantee civil liberties and to take urgent action to ensure the protection and the creation of a safe, enabling environment for journalists and human rights defenders, in line with established international standards. It's exactly in these difficult times we ask you to keep working with the brave reformers inside and outside government. Keep up the hard work to finish the implementation of your current action plan. Reflect on the challenges your country faces and rally your allies across Mexico. 10 years of open government in Mexico, which I've followed closely, have shown that you have supporters throughout society with political will and commitment to keep pushing on. The global open government community is there to support reformers wherever they work. The world is at a critical moment, with the confluence of crises hitting us at exactly the same time, almost like a perfect storm. In times of great need, and as founding members of our partnership, we expect from the Mexican open government and political leaders to assume your historic responsibility, fight back against backsliding, and grasp the reform opportunities you see. You've succeeded before to overcome challenges, and we know you can do it again. You've inspired us many times before with your reforms and your resilience, and I'm convinced you will inspire us again. Thank you very much. Gracias.